Hello, hello, lovely ladies. I have the beautiful Nicki with me today, who's going to share a bit about her creatrix journey. Now, it's been a couple of months since you finished your journey, Nicki. Tell me about where you were when you reached out to me, just to start with, and then we'll get to the good stuff.
Just felt like there was so many noises in my head. There was so much confusion. It was buzzing and full, and I just was unable to concentrate. I was unable to make decisions clearly. I just wasn't moving anywhere. I was spinning in a spot.
Yeah, yeah. And so we met through I held a masterclass. And that's where you sort of seen. Can I ask, what was it about what was said in that masterclass that thought, you know what, I want to have a further conversation with Maria? Can you remember?
Oh, yeah. I love the epigenetics that you spoke about. That was just so interesting. But it obviously hit home with me too that, you know, some of this stuff is not my stuff. I've inherited it, and it's in my programming, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
That's right. Yeah. I think for a lot of women, we get so used to feeling a certain way. We just think that's how it is. That's life. It is what it is, and we just have to deal with it. But on the same level, I think there's a lot of women who struggle to, what the hell's wrong with me? I don't know why I feel this, because nothing's happened in my life. What the hell? Did you get that?
So much so. Like, I've got, you know, a wonderful husband, a successful business, 2 grown children, grandchildren, you know, like I've got a lovely life, a perfect life. But I just wasn't dealing with everyday things. Like I was just, sinking in quicksand.
Yeah. Can you remember some of the big stuff that we did, the emotions?
Yes, I can. But there were so many. Like, it was such a long list.
Tell me some of the ones that you can remember and how they were affecting your life before.
I know even our conversations beforehand, like I would say I felt fear, and you would say fear of what? And digging into that was interesting. Yeah. Trust was in there. Fear and trust were big ones.
It's hard, isn't it? Because they're just not there anymore. Do you want me to remind you?
Yeah.
All right. So the first session we had was, and I can remember so clearly, this made such a difference. I don't have time.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Can you remember?
Yes.
Rousing at the chook. Was it the chook?
Yeah. The port. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's just one of those things where the chicken got out, and I just didn't have time to chase the chicken, and I had to go, and I was like a crazy mad woman chasing the chicken around the yard. But then after we'd done our session, I thought about the chicken, and I thought, that was pretty funny. Like, I would have loved to be a neighbour watching me over the fence.
Yeah, so that not having enough time, that brought out anger and frustration, and, you know, all of this where you were raging at the chicken and raging at the people around you. So how have you noticed that you don't do that anymore?
No. I went to shut the chickens last night. There was only 3 chickens, so I wandered around the yard and found the other chickens. They were just perched in bizarre positions, but it was quite cute to find where they were. It was a completely different reaction last night.
Yeah. And what about at work? You said you'd noticed how things just flowed because you didn't have that.
So much so. And it's interesting you even have time to think of the other person. What's the other person going through in this moment? Why is this happening now? Why is it confrontational? Why did they forget? You know, you have time to process it and think from their side as well.
Yeah, so it's created a whole other way to think and way to be, a higher emotional intelligence, where you, instead of just instantly reacting, you're stopping and thinking and working stuff out.
Absolutely, so much. And at first I felt like I had old habits. I would just still react. But now it's a completely new habit that's there, that it is, what's going on with them? Why has that come up now?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you first, because you've got this new wisdom, it takes a bit to break the habits, but it's sitting there and it's there. It's where I think a lot of things that we try and do in the past, and especially stuff at that conscious level, you're trying really hard and you have to consciously do the actions and consciously stop yourself and consciously think, where now it's just you've gone out of that old habit and created new ones.
Absolutely. And yeah, I do have time.
What about anger and overwhelm and feeling out of control?
Yeah, no, they still come. Of course they still come. Like, I can't say they don't.
Yeah.
However, I feel them coming now. I can notice them coming and I'll stop and I think, oh, okay, that's interesting. Where is that coming from? It's a completely new insight. You're aware of the feeling and you're able to analyze it and understand that it's not necessarily related to that situation. It's something else has happened. It's new knowledge.
And you don't stay stuck in it. Is that right? You're able to, instead of where before, would you have hit anger and stayed there for days or hours? You get stuck in that emotion? Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. And every new situation just compounded that again. Like, you just got angrier and angrier and sat in it longer and longer.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like it was added to the pile. There was this pile growing, where now you don't have a pile. Would you say that? Is that a fair?
No, like, you find a little lump and it'll pop up and the anger is there, but then you just think, no, hang on, am I really angry at this situation, or where did that come from? You're able to process it. It's not packed down.
Yeah. And this is how we're supposed to live. You feel emotion because we're human. We're meant to feel emotion. But then you can process this and let it go, instead of having a pile and adding and adding and adding and always being stuck in the pile of shit.
Yeah. That's right. And shit happens. So of course it's always going to come again. But yeah, it's a lovely feeling. And it's still, now a couple of months later, it's like, it's like a bing. Oh, wow. I didn't realize I was doing that. Like.
And how has that affected or changed your relationships, your work, your life in general?
Oh my gosh, so many things have changed. So I'm communicating much better with my husband. I'm more time communicating with my kids. I've got time for my grandkids. It's just an absolute joy to be with my family, rather than sometimes I'd feel stressed out about having to do the things that can be required of mums, but now it's the joy.
Yeah.
At work, my working relationships are so much better. Even, there were some friends that were a little bit toxic, and I've even been able to put a bubble around that, and whether, what will happen in the future will happen. But you can deal with the toxicity. It's not yours to take on. You don't have to.
Where before, how did it just come straight in, or how did you deal with it before?
Yeah.
How was it affecting you before, I think?
Would come straight in and it would drain me. Like, I would just feel terrible afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can put the barrier up and Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how good is that not to be feeling or taking in all the toxic energy of everybody else? Because we can only control ourselves, can't we? And having actual control over what you allow in is priceless, really, to your
Oh,
sanity.
absolutely amazing. Yes, all of my relationships have improved.
Yeah. So I'm going to remind you of a couple of other things that we worked on. Guilt,
Yeah.
loss. I don't have time. We did that. I feel out of control. What was the other one? Lack of patience, dread, perfectionist, feeling like everything had to be perfect. How's that now?
Oh, so many things just came to me. Like I was out of control with hoarding and just not dealing with things. Like there was just stuff everywhere. And it's been really, really cool to go in and go through the stuff. And there's no guilt attached to that anymore. It's just stuff. Let's deal with it. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's chuck it out. Whatever needs to happen. The guilt's not there, but I'm not blocked to deal with it either. Like it's all of that is flowing. Yeah, I have patience. I have time. It's all there.
How does that feel? Like in your body, because all of that was stored in your body as well as in your mind, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. Previously, I felt like I was always buzzing, like my head was just, some days it might explode, buzzing. Now I'll notice the sunset and I'll just stop and look. There's room for those beautiful things in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chicken will be doing something crazy and you
stop and have a giggle.
That's right. You get the time to do that. The puppy will do something crazy and, that's great. There's room for other things to come in now, whereas before it was just full and buzzing and overflowing.
And by the sound of it, you have time for joy. There's an actual feeling there that, these little tiny things you're noticing where before they would just cause you angst.
Absolutely. I felt totally overwhelmed by the negative, whereas now I'm sometimes overwhelmed by the beautiful parts of the world that I'd been missing, like even just to wander out and see a full moon, and I hadn't taken notice of those things for a long time. But yeah, all of the overwhelm, all of the guilt, all of those things are gone, so there's room for the beautiful things to come back in.
Well, that is so amazing. And I know that was sort of the same with me, and I had the time for all of those beautiful little things, and I had this outpoint that I could give to other people that I didn't have before. I had nothing to give before because it was just all about me. And now that all of that's gone, you feel that you can give your time, your effort, that love, that just the moments you have to give.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because your head is not full, or your heart is not full of, your body is not full of all those other.
Yeah. So have you had other people notice your changes? What about hubby?
Yeah, I definitely know hubby has. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's been really nice to
connect.
Friend him again. That's correct. Yeah, we're just buddies again. Yeah. And even, I'm communicating much better with the kids and making time for the grandkids. It's beautiful.
Yeah, awesome. Now I remember when it was after we'd finished, I think, and we did sort of a coaching session where I was sort of preparing you for the future. And you said, you know what, I've heard a lot of this stuff, but I just couldn't connect with it, or I couldn't understand it because of the noise. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing to know that all the answers are inside us. People had told me that,
Yeah.
but I didn't understand it because all I had inside of me was negative mental chatter, anxiety, fear, dread. I had all the negative emotions just swirling. I didn't have a clue that could be inside there, but they are. Like
They
every
are.
day now, I catch myself in a moment and I know the answer. I know the direction. I trust in my decisions.
And how easy was it for you to go through the creation process, to get to that place where you got all those answers? Because people are sort of thinking, well, what the hell is it? And, you know, I don't understand it. I don't know. You know, Maria talks about all of this stuff, but it couldn't possibly be.
Oh, absolutely. I was so nervous. I thought, you know, this is going to be scary. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be physically, emotionally painful.
Yeah.
It was none of those things. It was peaceful. It was so enlightening. Like such a weight was lifted off in the process. You could feel it happening, but you're just seated there in a relaxed moment. Like it was a really beautiful experience. It was not what I expected. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But the process was so peaceful.
Yeah. And a lot of women don't. And I mean, I don't think, we don't know what we don't know. That's true of everybody. You know, we don't know what it feels like. And that's why I like having these conversations. We don't know what it feels like to be free of this stuff. We don't know what it feels like to just be able to get the answers to keep us calm, to let go of stuff up. And, you know, we do still feel that we can let it go instead of building that pile. And, you know, it's an amazing thing to have a conversation with women like you who have been through and they're on the other side and they've felt it and they know that at last, you know, it's not like a week later and it's just all fell out. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, that the further that you go along in life, the more you feel at ease with yourself.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that?
Absolutely. And I feel like it was funny when you said what were the emotions we dealt with. I could not remember. As soon as you said them again, of course, I remembered. But they are just gone. Like, new emotions come up, but that's what's going to happen in life.
Yeah.
And you realise sometimes you're in the old pattern. Oh, yeah, it's just a brilliant feeling to say, oh, I don't want to react like that.
Yeah, you can choose. And I mean, I know I still have a moment. We all still do. We can all get upset and thing happens and life kicks you in the teeth at times. But, you know, you can feel that, and we're supposed to feel through it and then come out the other side instead of having it build up. So if you could say to some woman out there who's struggling, what would you say to her about, say, your experience or your realizations on the other side?
I remembered the old me. I was able to go back to the old me who was younger, more energetic, was more patient, more tolerant. She wasn't overloaded. I was able to go back to that person. Yeah. And that was really, really nice. To be able to go back to a younger version of yourself is just magic.
Yeah, well, we're still the same 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old. We're still the same person. We've just grown, but we've had a lot of life experiences pull us down, or, you know, because we keep storing all of this stuff. And then we also don't realise that we've got stuff stored from the epigenetic, the previous generations, that get triggered through life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not just a mental change, is it? There's a physical, like you said, you felt the weight lifted off you.
Absolutely. There's room inside all the rubbish has come. It's like decluttering my house, but I've decluttered my body as well. So there's room for the nice things. You can set it up pretty, and yeah, you know, you still have duds, or, you know, something blows up or you have to replace it. You know, like shit still happens.
Yeah.
However, there's room for you to be able to emotionally deal with that.
Yeah. So how's Christmas looking this year?
Oh, it's looking amazing. I'm hoping to see both of my grandbabies.
Oh, yay.
So yeah, I'm super excited. There's a lot of things happening here at the moment. Flooding, a harvest has been extended. Like, you know, we're under a lot of pressure with work.
Yeah.
However, I just know I'm going to see my babies. One way or another, I'll be able to work it out. I'm not dreading. I'm not worrying. I'm able to accept what will be.
And how awesome is that? How much peace do you have from just knowing that you're okay?
Oh, it's amazing. I'm seeing other people at the moment that are really, really stressed.
Yeah.
By exactly the same scenarios.
Yeah.
And yeah, you think, oh, that's so hard. Like,
I feel sorry for you because I know there's a better way.
Yeah, you do. So yeah, if I was to say anything to anyone, please try it. You will be so relieved. It's just, I can breathe again.
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't something really hard, because I know a lot of people are fearful of change. They're fearful of, can I do it? You know, it won't work for me, all of this kind of stuff, which you would have felt as well. But then when we go in,
oh, yeah,
you were guided through.
Absolutely right. And I knew I was in safe hands. I felt completely safe the whole time. There was nothing that confronted me in the process. It was peaceful.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to see you, and you know, a couple of months on and everything's going well. You're going to see your grandbabies. Christmas is going to be good despite all the challenges and the stresses that life still throws at us.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Thank you so much for having a chat. Is there any last words you'd like to share with anybody?
I would really encourage anybody, if Maria has come on your radar, there's a reason she has come on your radar. I really, really encourage you to put your trust in yourself as well as Maria, and just do it, ladies.
Yeah, because you do have to choose you first, don't you? And that was the step that you have to take. You chose. You wanted something better.
Yes, and it is better. I feel amazing.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today, Nicki.
My pleasure.